Hello, and welcome to my Sniper Fundamentals guide. This is the second part of my series of guides where I share my knowledge on various mid-heroes as an experienced coach and mid-lane specialist. Like usual, the video will be separated into chapters, and I did take some of the feedback from my last guide regarding itemization, and I'll be going into it more extensively this time. So let's start with, when do you pick Sniper? The main thing that Sniper cares about is not being jumped and evaporated at the start of every fight. Because as long as Sniper is alive, he's gonna win the fight for his team with the sheer amount of damage that he can dish out. So when deciding to pick him, the thought process should be about two things. Are there heroes on the enemy team who can jump me easily? And are there heroes on my team who can save me from that jump? Some examples of heroes that can jump you easily would include Legion Commander, Spirit Breaker, and Beastmaster. If we see two heroes of this archetype on the enemy team, we should already be doubting the idea of picking Sniper, as it's probably not gonna end well for us. But if our team has, for example, heroes like Shadow Demon or Oracle, this can fix that problem and make picking Sniper viable again. Another thing to consider is, because Sniper is a hero that doesn't want to go in first, you need to make sure that your team has a hero that enables you to perform your role. This would be heroes like Underlord, Bristleback, Tusk, heroes that just go in, provide vision, and soak attention so you can do your job and shoot people. When it comes to lane matchups, Sniper arguably does not lose any lane due to the power of Shrapnel. No matter what the lane matchup is, Sniper just presses Shrapnel on the wave, shoves it, and then goes jungle. He doesn't even lose to traditional lane bullies because he just outfarms them. So you can feel safe to pick him into any mid lane matchup. The main thing to think about is what happens post the laning phase, so direct your attention to the rest of the enemy team. But I do have to warn you, there is only one matchup that can destroy you, which is Primal Beast. If you see a Primal Beast mid, be very, very afraid, because he will just farm you like a creep wave. It's very depressing, but it's the only matchup, so anything else is perfectly fine. Sniper, if executed well, is one of the most reliable heroes at every stage of the game. When it comes to laning, you'll outfarm every lane and you can gank quite well with Shrapnel and ult. And if you're ahead, you can easily siege every outer tower and potentially threaten high ground quite early into the game. Sniper works really well with deathballing strats, because as long as you have someone in front of you, you can push just about any tower on the map. The enemy can't actually engage if they don't jump on you straight away, and it's difficult for them to do that if you have someone in front of you, so they just lose the fights. He's a really great hero for a 4 protect 1 playstyle, and on the other hand, if you're playing from behind, Sniper still remains very reliable, as he can defend high ground insanely well and is one of the more common heroes for people to make comebacks on. He's an all-around reliable, strong hero, but that does come at a price, which is that Sniper is an incredibly punishing hero. While on the surface, the common perception is that he's very easy and basic to play, I consider Sniper to be one of the harder mid laners to execute due to how important positioning can be. You're an incredibly fragile, immobile hero, and you need to be constantly vigilant and aware of all of your resources, especially considering that very often, whether you're ahead or behind, you'll be the deciding factor on your team. Thus, you'll always be the highest priority. Every mistake can be game-losing, so while you can be incredibly oppressive, it's quite easy to feel completely helpless if you're not careful. Now, let's talk about the itemization. Sniper has a fairly standard item build, which we'll be going through first, and after that I'll be proposing my personal deviation, which may get you flamed. For starting items, we just look to get as much damage as we can while getting components for wraithbands. Because Sniper doesn't buy bottle, we're going to use up all of our money without saving any of it. Depending on our lanes, we can buy things like Magic Wand or Raindrops. This is mainly against lanes with a lot of spells or specific high damage nukes like Storm Spirit or Necrophos. And when it comes to our build, Treads is our natural choice for boots, as nothing else even comes close. And after that, we can reliably buy Maelstrom, Dragonlance, Hurricane Pike, Shard, and Mjolnir every single game. But when it comes to the follow-ups, there's a lot of different options. In my guide, which I linked in the description, everything has its own explanation to help you know what item is best for your situation. And while the damage items are all easily explainable in the tooltips, I want to expand a little bit about our survivability choices, those being Satanic, Linken's, BKB, Disperser, and Blink. Before we decide to buy any survivability item, we need to make sure that our deaths aren't caused by our bad positioning, because that's often the case, and a BKB will not fix that problem. If we assess that our deaths are caused by us just being chain CC'd, then we can buy a BKB. If the deaths are being caused by us being jumped before we can react, by things like Spirit Breaker Charge, Hex, or Duel, then the answer would be Lincoln's, although this item is quite rare, and I'd personally avoid it if you're not very confident about your itemization skills. And if we're just struggling to man-fight the enemy carry and they don't have a lot of CC, the answer would be getting either Satanic or Disperser. If you're unsure and you want to play it safe, Disperser and BKB are great survivability choices, with BKB being easier to use and more reliable. Lastly, Blink is very effective for survivability, but difficult to use, so I'd only recommend it if you're comfortable with the hero and you trust your game sense a lot. It's especially good against matchups like Faceless Void or Tidehunter, heroes with initiations that can be blinked out of reliably. And when it comes to my favorite way to play this hero, I'm a huge advocate for Mask of Madness. I think this item is made for Sniper and is absolutely game-winning. I generally buy Dragonlance, Mask of Madness, Pike, then the usual stuff, typically skipping Maelstrom. The main idea behind Mask of Madness is using it in combination with Take Aim's active. I also really like following up my Hurricane Pike and Shard with a Disperser straight away, because I firmly believe that as long as I have enough mobility, I'm gonna win the game. Which might be a bit delusional, but I don't care. I just really like mobility, and this build feels great. You should try it, at least once. In a similar vein to Necrophos, Sniper's laning phase can be approached very safely by just shoving your wave with Shrapnel and then farming the two camps behind your mid tower, which you do by using one Shrapnel in the middle and pulling them both into it. But unlike Necrophos, Sniper has way better tower pressure and rotations, so generally, you'll be following the same plan of shoving wave and jungling, but it's very easy for Sniper to TP to side lanes and get kills with his Shrapnel or ult. It's also very possible for you to just walk through the river and press ult on a side lane, because of how big the range is. So I'd recommend keeping an eye out for plays like this as you're doing your farming pattern. You're able to start rotating to side lanes and threatening towers around your first item timing, whether that be a Dragonlance, Mask of Madness, or a Maelstrom. You can take tier 1s quite reliably and quickly with your team, but for anything further than that, it's best to keep farming and chilling until you have Pike. After you get Pike and Shard, this is when your hero hits the perfect stage to be able to make things happen all around the map. You can group up with your team and take objectives, but you have to make sure to take a reset between every objective to keep up in your farm. Lastly, when it comes to how you approach fights and objectives, the most important concept to understand is vision. And while this applies to just about every hero, for Sniper, it's arguably the most important thing. Because if you have vision as Sniper, you will just win the game. And if you play out of vision, you lose the game. Your hero can solo win if he's not jumped, and that means every single time a teamfight happens, you're the first target. By having proper vision and itemization, you can play around this fact. But if you can't see anything and you have no mobility items, you'll just die immediately. To position well, the basic idea is to be somewhere around the middle of your team. You want someone to be in front of you, providing vision and soaking up any possible direct engagements, and you want the rest of your team to be around you or behind you, ready to counter-initiate if you get jumped from the side. If you see that you're forced to go in first, don't go in. You don't fight away from vision, you try to be as vigilant as you can of your positioning, and you put yourself behind your frontliner, but in close proximity to your backliners. And if your team isn't buying vision, buy it yourself. The 50 gold for a sentry reward is a great investment. And as one last tip, also related to vision, Shrapnel is very useful for vision, and it's also very useful for breaking blinks. So use it to reduce the amount of angles that you can be jumped from, and increase the amount of safe spots that you have. So, to summarize everything, pick Sniper when the enemy doesn't have many ways to jump you, and your team has heroes that can frontline for you, or save you from enemy jumps. Abuse Shrapnel for very fast farming, get a lead, then threaten tier 1 towers with your teammates after your first item. Following that, farm your mobility items, those being Pike and Shard, then look for opportunities to group up with your team for tier 2s or objectives, making sure that you always play around vision and position in the middle of your teammates. Positioning is the most important part of your hero, so just be patient and shoot people with your gun. And that's about all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something. If you have any feedback, let me know, as I'd love to keep improving this series. And the next one should come out faster. I'm actually aiming to do these on a weekly basis, but my finals are kicking my ass, unfortunately. If you'd like to see more of me, check out my Twitch, where I'm live every weekend 6 PM, at Central European Time, join the Discord, and if you're interested in coaching, feel free to DM me to schedule something. Thank you for watching. Bye bye!